Welcome to the Restoration Pros Unplugged podcast. In each episode, we're going to bring you insightful interviews and discussions with top restoration industry leaders. We're also going to delve into their business, the strategies that made them successful, and most importantly, the valuable lessons they learned along the way. I'm your host, Clinton James. I'm also the Chief Marketing Officer at Water Restoration Marketing. We're a digital marketing agency dedicated to helping restoration companies nationwide secure more high-value water jobs. Now, this show, it aims to provide you with the knowledge and tools you need to excel in the restoration industry. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. All right, folks, welcome to another episode of the Restoration Pros Unplugged podcast. I am your host, Clinton James of Water Restoration Marketing. Today, I've got a special guest, a woman I've known for a while. She's actually a client of my digital marketing agency, Water Restoration Marketing. I'd like to introduce you to Amy Levine of Brightside Restoration. Say hello to the audience, Amy.
Hi, how you doing?
Well, I'm glad to have you on here. One, because
Pleasure to
you're
be
a
here.
client and you guys are rock stars. Two, because you're a woman in a predominantly male-dominated industry, and you're not answering the phones. You're not a technician. You're not doing payroll. You're actually the owner there, the boss of the bosses.
I own this show.
All right, so
So is yours.
so before we get into Brightside Restoration, tell the
Yeah.
audience a little bit about yourself and what you were doing before you got into restoration.
I have typically worked in male-dominated industries. I was in car sales for a little while.
Okay.
My father owned a dealership, so I kind of grew up in that environment. Worked for a car restoration shop for a while, updating like 1950s, 60s, all that sort of stuff. I was their administrative assistant.
Yeah.
That's typically my background. I started out as an admin, moved up to an executive, assistant position for a roofing company. So I've typically run male-dominated industry companies for the men that own them. So when I was presented the opportunity to own my own company, it just felt like a no-brainer.
How did you stumble into restoration of all industries?
Restoration that falls on my husband. My husband got into restoration and through the dry cleaning side of things. Actually, he worked for a niche dry cleaner that did restoration, and sort of introduced him to that sort of area. He's always been interested in helping people and thought about like real estate, that kind of thing, like homes, helping people out with their house in some sort of capacity. And he bumped into someone who was looking to franchise and said, I know someone who would be great at running a restoration franchise. And since he was already in dry cleaning and was generating some business for restoration firms, again, a no-brainer.
Wow. All right. That's an interesting transition. So let's tell the audience a little bit about the business. So how long has Brightside Restoration been in business?
We will officially be 6 years next month.
Okay. And for the audience that doesn't know, where are you guys based out of?
We are on Long Island in New York.
Long Island girl. You from Long Island?
Born, raised, I left for college and came right back.
Okay. Awesome. All right. So let's go through the services that you guys offer, because restoration companies, they're not all the same, right? So obviously you guys do water mitigation. Walk us through the other services that you guys offer.
So we do water mitigation, we do fires, we do puffbacks, we do a lot of mold. You run into a lot of mold on Long Island. It's very damp here in the spring and the summer. That's primarily our focus. We outsource our asbestos. We have a few great contractors that we work with to do rebuilds, but it's not our focus. There's a lot of folks around us who do the mitigation and do the reconstruction, and we work so seamlessly that our customers think we're the same company. But we do work with other companies to handle that stuff. Our focus is the water mitigation, the fire mitigation. That's what we specialize in. That's where we can bring the most value to our customers. So that's our focus.
And you guys have had some success and been able to scale. So talk a little bit about the team that you guys have been able to build over the years.
It's been mostly my husband and I for a very long time. I'm the back end, he's the front end. He's the one going to your house, talking you through the process, usually talking you down off the ledge because you're pretty upset at the time. It's like raining in your living room or something, and you don't know what to do. And he's great at walking everybody through that process. And then I'm the estimator. So I'm putting everything together. I'm the one fighting your insurance company. We're opposite of that. He's very nice, and I am the more aggressive one of us. So I'm gonna
Okay.
Lester so that your insurance company is doing the right thing for you. And we, through our networking and that kind of stuff, have found we found someone who is in sales. Ryan is now our new project manager. He does everything that John does. John, my husband.
Okay.
Uh, he is, walking you through the process. He is going to fight your insurance company for you at the beginning, make sure the claim is covered, all that kind of stuff. And with that influx of business that Ryan has been able to bring to us, we've hired an office manager. Um, and we have been able to help our parents retire.
Oh,
Um,
man. Is that
my
the biggest win that you've had so far in entrepreneurship?
Absolutely, absolutely. My mom is in the office with us 2 or 3 days a week. She's like our receptionist, she's our file clerk. She's calling, making sure we have claim numbers, adjusters information, and my father-in-law runs our warehouse. He's making sure all our equipment's clean and labeled and, going out to the right places at the right time, making sure all our supplies are organized, and that has been huge. Our parents work for us like 2 or 3 days a week. It's awesome, so.
I love that. Now, it has not always been roses, right? There have definitely been challenges, as anybody has that owns a business. So talk a little bit about some of the challenges that you had at the very beginning, getting this
I
restoration
would
business off the.
say figuring out the timing with payments
Oh, okay.
initially was speaking from my perspective as someone who works on the back end,
Mhm.
insurance companies can take you weeks, months. We've had, a fire that didn't get paid out fully for a year and a half.
Wow. That seems a little excessive.
There are definite fires in particular can take forever. That was a struggle. That one went to appraisal. That one was crazy. But just knowing how to balance it so that you don't run through everything that you have in the first month before the rest of the checks start coming in. And eventually you hit a stride where, if as long as your business is steady, and you guys have definitely been a huge help in getting us through some slower patches recently. Um, once you kind of figure out how to balance everything, you can just keep those plates spinning. But at the beginning, there were definitely days where I was like, we need 50,000 pounds in the next month. Like,
Cash flow is definitely a challenge for restoration. It doesn't matter whether you just started or you've been in business for 10 years. You can outlay a lot of money in terms of labor and materials on a job, and you'll be waiting 60 to 90 days in some cases to get paid.
yeah.
And that gets a year and a half. Oof. Can't
I
imagine.
figured 60 is like best case scenario for us. I would say like 3 to 6 months is almost everything is closed out at that point. That's pretty standard. You're gonna have everything you need within the first 3 months, but yeah, all you need is one big job to wipe out that bank account real quick.
100%. Now, you guys are in New York, Long Island to be specific, and every part of the country is a little different in terms of servicing their community, we should say there. So tell us a little bit about the good things about being a restoration company in Long Island, and tell us some of the challenges that you run into.
I find that one of the better things about being in this area, for us anyway, is that we really get to work with a wide spectrum of people. We work a real varied job, sorta. Right now we have some packbacks going on and some water damages, and there's always different things for us to be doing and different people to be helping out. And, we go from low income housing to we're working a mold job in a $12 million mansion. Well, Long Island in particular is all over the place. You meet different people from all walks of life. Certain things can really change your perspective. We've met some really interesting people through all of this. And one of the benefits of working in such a densely populated area is that we're very rarely slow. We're we go maybe I think if we go like 3 or 4 days without a job, my husband's like, "Oh my God, we need a job. We need a job. But that's what we're used to. Where there's slow periods are really mitigated by just the fact that there's like 2 million people in this county, something like that. So, just servicing Suffolk County or Nassau County, the neighboring one is like 5 million people right there. It's crazy.
Well, let's talk a little bit about jobs, right? So traditionally, I know we generate some jobs for you guys. We did your website, looks great, by the way. We're helping you guys on the SEO
You
side.
guys, it absolutely we love it. Oh, I love it.
We also running some paid ads for you, but let's talk. Let's take the digital stuff away for a second. Where do a lot of the jobs that you guys get on a day-to-day basis come from?
The first answer I have for you is plumbers, relationships with plumbers. That is how we started when we were doing the dry cleaning and really just kind of getting our footing. We started running a 1-800 number to get emergency plumbing calls.
Okay,
At night, emergency work, that kind of stuff.
but you and your husband aren't plumbers.
We're not plumbers.
Okay.
So it helps us build relationships with plumbers. If we call we specifically had one plumber who loved after hours work. But any plumber, you're calling them and giving them work. You're saying, "Hey, I have a job for you." There's a guy 2 towns over that has, a burst pipe in his basement. He's got 6 inches of water. You gotta get over there. They love that, especially you can charge a little more for after hours
Sure.
work, all that sort of stuff. And then obviously when they find the water damage at that property, that becomes business for us. But then they're more aware and they're looking out for it and they're like, "Hey, John and Amy are looking out for me. They've given me work. I know I can bring them in here and help my customer out." We make them look like a rock star because we go in there, we clean up the water, we make the house sparkly again and walk them through the insurance company. We introduce them to the contractor. They love us when we
So
come in.
I love that kind of relationship with plumbers because I talk to restoration companies on a day-to-day basis, and they're frustrated with the relationships they have with their plumbers because they pay them a referral fee. You guys went the opposite that direction. You send them work, right?
Yeah.
And they appreciate the work more than they would a $500 referral fee for that restoration.
They still get the referral fees
Okay.
for jobs that we give them, it's you're already getting the work, so I don't, maybe the guys have a different relationship, but we don't necessarily pay the referral fees there. But then when they're on a job and they see water on the floor, they know that they can call John and Ryan,
Right.
and John and Ryan will come clean up that water, and they make a couple bucks off of it.
Love
So we're giving them, also, it works. It's a real good relationship. We've developed some real solid relationships with plumbers
I
online.
was gonna ask, how many referral plumbers do you guys have in your network right now, would you guess?
I would say at least a dozen off the top of my head. There's, I would say 3 to 5 plumbers that make up probably 50% of our business. They're real steady, they're larger outfits, they trust us, they know that we do a good job and we're gonna do the right thing by their customers. And then there's some people who are like maybe one-man shows or, we have a plumber that splits his time between here and some states down south, so when he's in town and he finds something, he calls us. And that kind of a thing. There's, plumbers that we hear from 2, 3 times a year. There's plumbers that we hear from 2, 3 times a week.
Okay. I
Oh.
like that. All right, so plumbers are one. Let's go to your next biggest lead generation tool right now. Where are you guys getting your water jobs from?
Oh, after that, I would say probably public adjusters.
Okay.
Public adjusters or like other trades. We just got a call from a roofer today. Ran into a job that, it had gone through the attic, the second floor, the first floor. So just trying to make relationships with guys who are going to run into that kind of thing. We've gotten calls from what's the word I'm looking for? An exterminator.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Someone had bought a house, and when they bought it, they didn't realize there were raccoons in the attic. So they came in, they cleaned it up, but then now, it's everything's left in there. Somebody needs to come clean it out. So we found that like BNI networking groups,
Yeah.
that kind of stuff, helping to I would say almost all of our business comes whatever is not from you guys comes to us through networking relationships.
Love that.
And we love a good relationship.
Love that. So I will say I'll take my podcast host hat off for a second and put my digital marketing hat on and say, yes, we tell all of our clients, well, we're going to do a great job of generating calls coming in off the internet. You shouldn't be relying on that as your only lead source, right?
Yeah.
You need to get out in your community. You need to meet the people that are actually talking to these homeowners that provide other home services and see if they can refer business. And like you're doing, vice versa, make sure you're
Yeah.
sending some business their way as well. So
Yeah.
all right. So next question for you is what's the next hire that you see your company making?
We are in these kinds of talks right now. And now that we have had a chance to expand a little and kind of learn what that is like,
Hmm.
excuse me, where we brought on sales before we brought on support staff. Now we've realized that the next hire is actually support staff.
Okay.
before we can bring on more sales. So it will probably be someone who is a bookkeeper
Okay.
or an executive assistant, someone who can help, coordinate things between myself and the guys in the field, and or someone who can just take maybe the accounting off my plate. I do a lot on the back end,
Mhm.
but I'm also the head estimator. So if I'm not free to write these fires and these large losses that we get, then we're not.
Well, babe.
Exactly. Exactly. So, in order to free me up to do that, the next one is probably, a bookkeeper,
Okay.
and once we have a little bit more staff in the office, once the 3 of us in the office end up with some downtime, now we know it's time to fill that downtime.
Okay.
So then another salesperson or a project manager, which will help free our, because right now our guys are kinda sales project management, they do both. So if we find someone with either one of those focuses, that will either free them up to be project managers or be salespeople. So
All right. So, next question for you. I know what your current service offering looks like. Are there any plans to add any additional services like air duct cleaning or something like that to drive some additional cash flow into the business?
we've discussed exactly that, actually, air duct cleaning. We own a duct cleaning domain. That is a pun on the word duct, shall we say. So my husband bought it on a whim one day, but that is, that's potential. Right now, we're growing so well in the mitigation side of things that we've kind of put that on the back burner. But I think if we were to do something like that, then yeah, it would be, like I said, like duct cleaning, that kind of thing, something to fill that gap where we have plumbers, we have roofers, we have this, but we actually don't really work with anybody who does duct cleaning.
Okay.
So.
Um, one of the things that I really like about you guys get great reviews from your customers, right? I think that's a testament to the culture that you and John have created. But talk a little bit about, is that important to you guys?
Oh,
The
absolutely.
experience, and tell us a little about that.
We're super customer focused. We're super customer focused. I used to refer to hand holding as one of the services we offer, because we're going to walk you through the process. We're really going to take our homeowners. I mean, I can hear my husband on the phone in the other room right now. He's always on the phone with a customer. We're always making sure everyone's happy. And if something comes up, we just had something come up recently where we put some floor protection down, and the homeowner said, I think you scratched my floors. John went to look at it, and yeah, we're gonna refinish that. It's just one little section, but we're gonna refinish it for that homeowner because that's really the right thing to do in that situation. Protecting the floor is the right thing to do, but if the protection messes it up, but that's just an example. Like, that's really our culture, and we want every homeowner to walk away feeling good about restoration. We hear so many horror stories from other restoration companies, and I never want to be that person. I never wanna be that
Well,
person.
knock on wood, so far so good. But working in the home service space, you can be the best restoration company in the world, and you are still going to have nightmare experiences with homes.
Absolutely.
So tell me about a recent night. We're not going to name any names, but tell us about a recent experience that wasn't as great with a homeowner that didn't go so well.
Um, hmm. We had a homeowner that we really did go above and beyond for. I don't often write reconstruction estimates, but I made sure that I wrote this one, and it was amazing. Got them an extra $12,000. And, to cover the floor. The insurance estimate wasn't right, it had the wrong kind of flooring, so I got them the right kind of flooring, fought for it, did all that sort of stuff, and they turn around and said, "We don't really think you did very much for us. We're gonna go with this other person that's gonna give us a discount."
Oh, wow.
And I went, "Oh,
Well,
ok."
unfortunately, that happens in the restoration space.
Yeah.
It's better than the alternative is you actually do the work, they take that check, and they go on a
Absolutely,
cruise down to the Bahamas.
absolutely. So I'm always gonna take that extra time to write that estimate and go above and beyond for that homeowner, and then, if they choose to walk away, they choose to walk away. It's, you win some, you lose some. So, luckily, we haven't really had anything go sideways for us, knock on wood,
Yep.
where someone has been like, "You did a terrible job, you left the house a mess." We go back and clean up. If somebody says, "Oh, you didn't do this, you didn't do that." Um, we tried to help someone out recently. We put, some I don't know the word for it, but there was a crack in her foundation.
Okay.
After we took the wall down, you could see straight out her basement wall. So we went back, we tried to fill it, and my guy didn't do the neatest job. So we immediately sent him back. She called and she was like, I can see it out the other side. He'll be there tomorrow. Freed up some time for him to go there in the afternoon. We do everything we can to really make sure that somebody had a good experience. We left things the right way. And when they go sideways, you gotta push them back.
Well, even though you're out in Long Island, there's a lot of people, it's still a really close-knit community. So
Oh, yeah.
doing good work is going to lead to referrals for you in the future. Not doing good work could be the reason you have to shut your doors in a couple of years, right?
Exactly, exactly. It's super competitive out here. It really is. So that's our focus is making sure that the customer has the greatest experience. They can give us those reviews. They can give us word of mouth. We've definitely gotten word of mouth referrals before. Said, oh, you took care of my neighbor. And so yeah, especially around here when everybody talks and everybody's in it's 7 million people in tiny little towns.
Yes, it is a bunch of little pockets. All right. Transitioning to two more things. One, you mentioned obviously you've got experience working in male-dominated fields, being a woman. Have you run into any hurdles being a woman specifically in the restoration space?
There I have noticed, and I don't know if this speaks to restoration in itself or, in general. But I will notice I'll have some conversations with people, adjusters, or, other people that we'll run into, on a daily basis. And I'll say things and it either falls on deaf ears or they don't seem to care. And then I hand the phone off to John and he says, "You said the same thing that I just did." And they take it all in and they listen to it. And so I think one of your struggles just as a woman in general is making yourself heard, getting people to take you seriously. I am one class shy of having my triple master in IICRC certifications. I take my ASD class this October. I'll be a triple master. And one of the reasons I have all those certifications is so that I can say, hey, I know what I'm talking about. Like there's a reason that I am telling you this line item has to be in my estimate because I know what I'm talking about.
Well,
So
I appreciate you getting the additional certifications there, but you don't have to prove anything to anybody. You are
I
absolutely
hear
a star.
I hear that. It was early on. It was the pandemic. They were all Zoom calls. It was super easy. So I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna get them all. Let's do this.
All right. So you mentioned John, and I have out of 130 plus clients, only a handful of them work with their significant others, right? I'm married. I couldn't imagine working in my agency with my wife, right? Talk a little bit about the good, the bad, and the ugly of working in a business with your spouse.
I would say that the ugly is that we never put it down. We it becomes I'm in my home office right now and it becomes our business is 24/7 and it really becomes 24/7 when the person you live with, work with, talk to every single day, his phone rings, oh, who was that? What were they talking about? You know what I mean? So that's probably the worst part of it. I would say the good and the bad are sort of the same thing. We are a couple. We are going to have arguments. He didn't take out the trash. I left my clothes all over the floor, whatever it is. We're going to have arguments, but then I need to call him back 5 minutes later and say, hey, Mrs. Rodriguez called. You got to go pick up the dehumidifier there at 2 o'clock. Like, so it became a good way for us to turn off that couple fighting
Hmm.
and go back into business mode.
Oh, I like
Which,
that. I like
so it's you learn a whole different way to communicate with each other when you not only work in a business that is this stressful and constant, but, when you work together in general. So
All right, so you've worked in the restoration space now for years. You've been servicing the Long Island community, doing an exceptional job. Tell me about some good things, some like positive experiences you've had with the community doing restoration work.
oh gosh, I would say with the community, it's just, being able to give back, being able to, make sure that people are happy, that they're, being taken care of. We have heard some pretty horror stories of people being taken advantage of. Um, One of the more heartwarming phone calls I've gotten, I have her recorded actually. She called in on your line. But she was a customer of ours and she just wanted to leave a review and she was an elderly woman. She's since passed. But she said that, John really took the time to explain things to her, and she has had contractors take advantage of her in the past because she was a widow and an older woman, and she was like, I know that's not happening here. I can trust you. And just being a company that people can trust, I think, is just a good way to give back to your community.
I love that. You're not just in restoration. I mean, don't get me wrong, you're making a great living, you're growing a very successful business, but it really seems like you and John servicing the homeowners, the business owners in the community, that's really what kind of pushes you guys forward.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. That's the that was, like, one of the best phone calls I've ever had in my life. I've listened to it a few times. Getting, calls like that where people are genuinely in a terrible situation and have found some sort of calm and, just a way to get through it so that it almost feels like a positive experience at the end,
Mhm.
is why we do this.
Okay.
So
So I've got people that listen to this show that know I own an agency called Water Restoration Marketing, where we do websites and ads and basically everything it takes to get the phone to ring, right? To homeowners, business owners. Anybody on the fence in considering working with my digital marketing agency, what would you say to those folks?
I would say get off the fence immediately and do it. I have said this to you. I believe I've said this to you. I know I've said this to Kate, our account rep. Love her. That you guys were the only ones that have actually made the phone ring for us. Even with all these millions of people around us, we went through at least 3 marketing agencies off the top of my head before we found you guys. And I think maybe we got like 4 phone calls. And if we got a job out of any of those, I'm shocked. With it a couple months, we were like, "Oh my god, this is working." We like I said, we ran into a little bit of a slow patch. I wanna say it was maybe last summer, last fall. You guys kept the phone ringing, the plumber was a little bit quiet. I think we'd had one guy move away at the time, and you guys absolutely filled that gap, and we kept going, like it was nothing, and was part of the stepping stones to helping us hire. Once those calls started coming in, we needed somebody else to help handle everything, which is why Ryan and now our office manager, Deanna, have jobs. So,
Well,
you know
Amy, I appreciate the kind words. We love generating work for you guys because you guys answer the phone. You turn those calls into on-site visits, and John and Ryan turn those on-site visits into jobs. So it's a really good partnership for us. All right, tell us what's next. What's next? What's on the horizon for Brightside? What do you think's going to happen tomorrow?
ugh, it's tomorrow I have nothing but meetings.
For the business, what do you think's next for the business?
I would say that we're still in this period of expansion right now. So I would say, another person in the office with me and another, so just hiring a few more people, being able to provide a nice living for some of the people, on Long Island, and helping us, service our communities. And I don't know that we have specific plans right now. I think we're still kinda catching our breath.
I heard you were gonna,
Right.
open up another location, maybe go to another state and set up shop. I don't
There's
know.
always that, like, talk about it. We do know someone who said that they would be willing to relocate upstate for us. There is actually another Brightside Restoration out in Ohio, or there used to be. I think they've changed their name, but they are literally down the block from some family of mine.
Oh, wow.
So if I ever felt like, maybe spending some time out with the Ohio family, maybe we could talk to them and
There you go. All right. Expansion. I love it. I love it.
yeah.
Amy, it has been an absolute pleasure to have you on. You are probably one of our favorite clients. You've been with us for years. God willing, you'll be with us for years.
So far so good. Not no complaints, but nothing but compliments. We genuinely enjoyed it. I look forward to talking to Kate and Ryan every month. You guys have done some really great things for us, and we really appreciate it.
Awesome. Well, we appreciate you. And to the audience that stuck around and listened to this, Amy, John, Brightside Restoration, a testament to starting small and scaling up a restoration business, and more importantly, giving job opportunities to other people in the community as they scale. So that is absolutely awesome. So again, Amy, thanks again for being on the Restoration Pros Unplugged
Oh, thanks
podcast.
for having me. This was a pleasure. I really appreciate it.
All right. As I like to say to my audience, for those that are listening, if you like what you heard today, insights from other restoration company owners like Amy and her husband, John, please like, subscribe, follow us on social, and if you feel like it, leave us a 5-star review on the podcast. Help us share the message with other restoration professionals there. So, Amy, thanks again for your time. And to the audience, thank you for joining us. You get out there and stay dry, stay busy, and stay safe out there in the community. Thanks, Amy.
Thank you, Clinton. Have a good day.
Thank you for listening to the Restoration Pros Unplugged podcast. If you like what you heard today, be sure to subscribe, share, and also leave us a 5-star review. We'll be back with more interviews and discussions with restoration industry leaders really soon. In the meantime, if you're a restoration company looking to add more high-value water jobs, you can reach me and my team at waterrestorationmarketing.net. Again, that's waterrestorationmarketing.net. I look forward to hearing from you soon.